Before the video starts, guys, we want to remind you about our meetup on September 25th at Windrock Off-Road Park. We're going to be there riding to Brushy Mountain Prison, which is kind of a restaurant and a museum now. It's going to be a really fun ride. I think it's a couple miles. It doesn't matter if you have suspension on your go-kart or mini bike. It's a pretty easy gravel road. It has a few little rough spots, but you can go around them. So we hope to see you there. It's going to be a really fun trip. You do have to buy a pass for Windrock, which I believe is around 20 bucks. And if you're not 18 or older, you need a parent or a guardian with you to do the ride. But it's going to be a really fun time. I think Chris from Rutherby Weldon is going to join in, so you can come and meet him, meet us, hang out by the fire at night, and just have a good time. We are going to be giving away some cool stuff, so look forward to that. And you can go to rbgkarts.com/events anytime and see what events we have planned for the year. So we hope to see you there, guys, and let's get right into today's video. So I've been wiring on this 6-seater, 8-seater golf cart for the last few days. Done a super sick wiring setup. So I ordered the amplifier today. So we're going to have a 4-channel amp that's actually going to run 6 speakers, and we have the fuse for it. Then we have a fuse panel that is controlled by this relay. So when the switch comes on, this relay powers this fuse box. That'll power stuff like the radio and all kinds of small accessories. And we're going to go over all this wiring in a complete video. So that's what I've been filming, and I ran this super nice wiring harness all the way up to the front, got it all like latched down, and it just dawned on me, like, I never tried the rear end out. So I have the engine on. You guys saw in the last video I made that plate, got everything buttoned up. So basically, if I had a throttle cable, hooked up a kill switch and the starter switch, I could drive this engine, oil's in it, everything, and hook up gas to it. Well, the first thing I did was going to test, this had fuel injection on it. So fuel injection has a lot of fuel pressure. So, and it usually has a return line also. So I pulled this plug off the fuel pump and checked the pin out and stuff. Fuel pump will not kick on when I hook it to a 12-volt battery. So that told me the battery, or the fuel pump's fried, which is really weird because the engine was filled with water, if you remember. Let's have a flashback, shall we? It's just filled.
That's just like water. Yeah. That's pure water.
What we've determined, this came from Texas. I think it was Hurricane Harvey, was like in 2017. This thing was completely underwater, we found out. That's why the engine was completely filled with water. It shorted everything out. So that means that ECU, all that stuff I kept off this is probably trash. And it ain't worth me wasting my time. So I'm gonna throw all that stuff away, unfortunately. Then, so the golf cart is in gear right now. So if you notice, no, it's in neutral, sorry. So we got some vice grips on the shifter up here. So we're gonna shift it in reverse. Okay, so she's in reverse now. So it should spin still, like still be able to push it, just have some resistance against it. But it's like it hits a wall. So that's forward. That's trying to push it reverse. For some reason the diff is 100% locked up. And I drained it. This is the fluid out of it. So it doesn't have a ton of water in it. It is really thick because here's the fill hole. And if we stick our finger in there, it's really gummy. But, I mean, it still had oil in it. So, unfortunately, we're gonna have to pull this diff. It's not a huge deal. We can jack up the chassis, unbolt these shocks, and basically allow the swing arm to drop down some, and bolt the panhard bar back here. Then we gotta split the case. What sucks is this is a 14 and newer Yamaha body style. Worst thing about that is there's none out there on the market. You can't find this diff. Vegas Kart said he's never ran upon one and he even looked for one. You have to pretty much buy a complete golf cart. So that means parts are gonna be expensive for this, if we can even get them. And then we may have to end up swapping out Easy Go diff on it, which is perfectly fine, but it sucks to add work. We wouldn't be driving this right now if it wasn't the case. So me and Braxton's gonna troubleshoot, and then if we have to, we're gonna pull this diff. So let's get into it, baby. When it's off the ground, someone said this online. They said when theirs is off the ground that their mustache was thicker. Yeah, Braxton looks like someone that just got out of the Marines. You know, just got that stash in the Marines, or a motorcycle cop that just got a Harley 883 Sportster with a sissy bar on the back, talking 8 hangers, This
Oh, this one.
it's in. No, forward. Push it the other way.
This way?
Yeah. So weird. She's definitely been in some water. I can tell you that. Because this was solid corroded green, and there was a ton of buildup when I pulled this cap off. Woo!
NASCAR style, go fast.
Our dust cap. And of course, I'm sure everybody's seen these little clippy boys. Alright, so we just bend that puppy out. Give it a couple tingy boys. Spacer, I mean, you can see some residue, but I don't know. So Harbor Freight just came out with these Doyle. Oh, Doyle's. These, I guess this is a Doyle brand. They got that little push button boy. And they seem to be pretty dang Harbor Freight. No, they seem to be really nice. I mean, this set was like this one was like $25, which in Harbor Freight world, you know, you're in there working on a 85 Monte Carlo. You ain't looking to spend 25. I'm trying to get that pin to spin free. I'm gonna heat it up with a torchy boy.
You gonna get it?
Try to melt it. Yeah, that propane.
Yeah, it's over here.
Okay. That motherfucker don't want to move.
No, it don't, though.
Right, that's moving like on there. So it seems like it's like rusted. Ooh, I forgot to burn that.
Like it's stuck in there and won't come out.
Like we got this moving. That's a bonus. Now we got to get the actual shaft. Good gosh. Team Davey boy. Thank you.
Thank you, dude.
Getting that brake cable out there. I just pop this son of a gun right off. Okay, now we just gotta slip the belt off and I can drag her out.
All that crap.
Oh, and by the way, this is the original belt off the boosted 670 buggy. Worked out perfect, so money didn't get wasted. Get out of there. Get.
Get out of here, get.
You don't get.
On now.
All right, so we got that puppy out. Now we're gonna take it, clean off the motorcycle lift because we're gonna tear it apart on the motorcycle lift. So this is our problem. When we spin the CVT, it doesn't do nothing, but you can spin the axles and the other one spin the opposite way like a diff normally does. So I'm gonna pull the CVT pulley. This is the driven pulley and it's splined in there. It's got a little spacer you gotta keep up with. So I'm assuming I'm gonna bolt this apart and I got it sitting down this motorcycle lift like this. I should be able to separate the two halves, and I'm guessing since this axle doesn't have any kind of clip on it, that's just gonna slide and leave the axle in the rear end. I would think, I don't know. I don't know of any other bolts. So these diffs have these little slots on each side, and that's for a pry bar to be able to put them together and separate it. So you put them in backwards from each other. Oh! Is that side?
Yes, sir.
Please, Braxton.
You better believe that, though.
Alright, do this side again. There you go.
There it is. There it is.
Oh yeah. Definitely have water. So this is the governor mechanism. It is covered in rust. I mean, look at the rust that's down there. This is the governor little dog. Yeah, it's got she has the gunk. That's the problem. That bearing's seized, and this is the main input shaft. This is like a governor mechanism, these little arms. So this is what governors. So when these weights, at certain RPMs, these weights are going to fling forward like that. What they're going to do is push. So this rides like this, and when those weights sling up, it pushes this, which restricts your throttle, just like a governor in a internally on an engine. So this was our problem. I think if we just get this one bearing right here, of course we're going to pull this diff apart, but this thing is locked super tight. I think we could have freed it up by driving it, but me and Braxton had the idea, but I knew people would get so mad about it. But basically, we had the idea of hooking it to my truck and just pulling it in gear and putting weight on the back of it. I'm glad we didn't, because this is definitely a problem.
That'd be fun, though.
It would have, but we could have broke it worse. So this is fixable. I'm super pumped about this. So this is how these diffs work. This is the shifter fork. So that's how you shift it into reverse and neutral and whatnots and what have you. So that goes in here.
To that.
Well, so if anybody's ever watched Chris's 2-speed transmission, this works a lot like this, and all that little fork does is push this up or down, which is selecting reverse, or well, that would be, yeah, forward. Okay, so when it slides up, it grabs this gear and connects it to the drivetrain, and when it slides down, this gear goes into neutral and it goes to this one. So it's super simple setup. Like if Chris at Rather Be Welding can figure out how to machine something like this, come on Chris, show your skills, do it. I'd buy them from him for sure. If he could do an internally oiled rear end with reverse and forward and high and low like a Polaris, that'd be sick. So now we got to try to get the numbers off this or find a schematic for this. And huge plus though. I'm gonna try to just break everything off. Okay, we gotta be careful here. This is coming out all as one unit though, which is good. I gotta keep this all together.
Because we don't know how it goes back there.
Because we don't know what we're doing. You can see the amount of rust that's on there. Luckily it's just like surface rust. We can use some evapro rust or whatever it's called. Chris Schmidt says that stuff works really good. So this all stays together.
Chris Schmitty boy.
Chris Schmitty boy. So we can soak that in evapro rust. This we can get rid of. We can get rid of this as well as these weights off this. This don't, because we're not going to be using this setup. So that's what happens, yeah. When these weights get slung at a certain RPM, they push this up, which in return, like I said, grabs this and pushes it up. We can basically get rid of this whole slide mechanism. These,
just cut it off like right there.
Yeah, just take a sawzall and just hammer it off. Took a fair bit of hammering on that dog, but all these gears look really good. It's just that one bearing that rides this shaft rides on. So we're gonna leave. Oh, where'd that go? Oh gosh! All right, this is a spacer that was right there. I have to remember this stuff. So look at that corrosion and the water. There's water still in there. You see that?
Yeah. You could probably drink that. It's probably healthy enough.
Drink it. Make $1. Like that bearing has some rust on it, so that sucks. That's going to be a doozy to get out. Oh boy. So this is the brake mechanism, these pads, and it works really well actually.
It's kind of like brakes.
It's like a clutch. It's like a clutch disc, which is crazy. I've never seen nothing like that. Okay. Ring and pinion we can take out. it. Just like a
Looks like a little clutchy boy.
What's a South Bend clutch? That's 1200 horsepower clutch right there.
I need that thing on trip.
So I'm guessing we take these out, but there's springs in there, so we gotta be careful. But we really need to disassemble this whole puppy dog.
But we really don't know what we're doing.
Oh, this stuff is like death getting on your fingers. Like you don't want to do that or this.
You don't want to touch it at all.
All right, guys, we got that diff pulled apart, and as you've seen, our input shaft bearing. So this is the input shaft that the CVT pulley would go on. That bearing that was on here was super seized, and we also have one other larger bearing inside the case that's seized up as well. So I went on eBay and found that shaft. They don't sell just a bearing, like Yamaha doesn't sell just that bearing standalone because it's pressed onto that shaft. $350. So I ordered it, and luckily I was able to knock the bearing off because it had so much rust on it I couldn't read the part number on it. Luckily the other side was clean enough I could read the number, which is a 6204. $15 prime on Amazon for this bearing. And if you just go through a golf cart dealership, they want you to buy that whole entire input shaft assembly for $350. So luckily I was able to cancel my order on eBay before it shipped and order that prime bearing. So we should have it in the next couple days. And then I ordered the other larger bearing that sits down inside the case that was froze up. It wasn't froze up completely, but it had some rust on it. So this will be up for sale when we're done with it. We're just going to do some good videos on it, get it the way we want it before it leaves, and then put it up for sale. So I want it to be right for whoever buys it, and I don't want to skip, you know, cut any corners on this thing. So stay tuned for the next video where I'll show you how I wired everything on this. We got rock lights, we got an amplifier, a marine radio, marine speakers, got all types of stuff going on this thing. So stay tuned for that. I know people's been wanting us to do a wiring video for quite some time, and this will be more of me just explaining it, and I want to do a more in-depth one in the future. They just take a ton of time, and we got a lot going on in the shop right now. So look forward to that, and then we should be riding this thing in the next week or so. I'm really excited to see how that Duramax performs on this cart. They're geared really low, so I know it's going to handle it. No problem in power department. It'll probably be almost too low geared. We'll get a bunch of people on this thing and see how it performs and take it down the trails. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to check out those links because they help us out a ton. Everything we're using on this golf cart will be linked down below. And make sure you like and subscribe. That helps us out more than you know. And thank you so much for supporting us. We love you, and God bless.